Please welcome Senior Vice President and General Manager Jim Odorcio.
Welcome. Wasn't the keynote yesterday just spectacular? Yeah, I mean, it was awesome. What an immersive experience. Well, welcome to my much smaller living room. You know, this is a great venue, and I'm thrilled to welcome you to our session. I do realize, you know, it's after lunch. It's kind of a cool, dark place, movie theater seats, so I'm going to try not to put you to sleep. You know, we're gonna talk about, you know, in the session as we embark on a journey to explore how AI is revolutionizing the storage landscape. We will discuss how unprecedented challenges and business opportunities are being created, and we're going to delve into strategies, showcase our capabilities, and discuss how we are leveraging the market trends to stay ahead. I've been told that about 5 years ago, Antonio declared the world was hybrid. I think we all know data is everywhere. Data definitely has gravity. Workloads are going to move to where the data is. This sets up perfectly for a hybrid by design infrastructure. AI plays well into this, as it's obviously a data-hungry workload by its very nature, and as a result of our hybrid by design approach, enabled by the GreenLake Cloud Platform, we're in particularly good space to support your needs going forward. So customers are faced with a multitude of challenges: exponential data growth, a rise of AI-driven workloads, market-changing acquisitions, the evolving nature of cyber threats. Sustainability demands are continuing to drive even more complexity. Orgs have a very difficult task. They must navigate seizing opportunities to innovate and grow. This creates the backdrop for the critical role that storage plays in achieving desired business outcomes. Today's data challenges require a paradigm shift from storage where data lives to storage where data comes alive. By the way, I worked at the place that came up with the where storage where data lives. Doesn't sound so sexy now. This shift drives the need for AI-powered, secure, modular storage architectures that ensure our businesses can meet their performance and sustainability targets and allow enterprises to capitalize on the data value of AI for their businesses versus a static sunk cost that storage has typically been in the past. So complete paradigm shift, and we're in the middle of it. Required key components to make data come alive: an AI-powered, automated, AI-powered modular architecture, secure, efficient, scalable, hybrid platform. Storage that can scale out, up, enabling flexibility and adaptability that offers threat protection, resilience, secure and ready to drive business value. HPE has that in our offerings, and we're going to talk about that through the rest of the presentation. So what happens when data comes alive? Numerous operational benefits. More innovation, 37% more products and services are launched, more agility, 60% more as-a-service deployments, and more protection. When you're using your data from an AI-driven perspective, you're going to be 2 times more likely to recover from ransomware in minutes versus hours or days. So with that, I want to invite Jeremy Mustafanejad to the stage, who's been a great partner of ours, and he's got a particularly great story. He's from Chincaro Family Estates, and he's their Senior Director of Infrastructure and Operations. Jeremy, come on out. Jeremy, thank you. I really appreciate you coming out.
Thanks for having me, Jim.
You know, I got to tell you, I think Jeremy and I are going to nominate ourselves for the 2 people with the most syllables in their names. How'd I do with your name? Was I okay?
It was good.
Is that all right?
It was good, yeah.
They didn't get mine right. So So Jeremy, tell me a little bit about your role at Trinchero.
Yeah, so, well, I'll tell you a little bit about Trinchero first to
Yeah,
give some
absolutely.
context. So, Trinchero's been around for 75 years. We have 51 wine and spirits brands. We're the fourth largest wine producer in the United States. And my role is to lead the IT infrastructure and operations at Trinchero. So, what that means is everything from the farms, the vineyards, to the production facilities, to sales and marketing data is flowing through the systems that my team manages.
I hear the product's pretty good too.
We like it.
Yeah. Well, we've talked a little bit, and you took a pretty interesting path into, kind of consuming HP products. Tell us a little bit about your journey.
Yeah, so when I arrived at Trinchero, it was an interesting time. We had a good infrastructure, but it was an aging infrastructure, right? So we had owned servers, owned storage, doing all the right things on network, but again, everything aging. And at that time was kind of the peak of the hype cycle when it came to cloud, right? And we had a consultant who had been in there, and he's like, well, the answer is you just need to move to the cloud. Right. And I came in and went, well, there's a lot going on here, and there's a lot of things to fix and a lot of things to adjust. Let's hold off on that. And luckily, we were able to hold the line for a few years. 2019, we started talking again about what's next for compute here. Now our servers are end of lifing, right? And GreenLake was presented to us, and we went all in on GreenLake. We've got 2 data centers that are highly available, and the rest has been history with GreenLake. So that's been the path so far.
Well, I mean, it's interesting because you kind of entered into the GreenLake arrangement at a time where there was still, but a lot of workloads still moving to the cloud. How did you think about that?
Yeah, so you mentioned data gravity just a couple minutes ago.
Yeah.
A lot of it comes down to data gravity. We have on-premise SQL data warehousing. We had on-premise applications. We have operational technology in our facilities that need that data locally, and or they need it very fast at least, right? Maybe not locally, but very fast. Well, very fast data to and from the cloud was going to be very expensive, and the economics just didn't make sense. Even though people are telling us you got to go to the cloud, it wasn't penciling out. So that's where we came down on this essentially private cloud infrastructure. Looks like a cloud, smells like a cloud, but it sits in our data center, plugs into our local storage, plugs into our local network, and gives us what we think is the best of both worlds.
Sounds like you guys really implemented kind of more of a cloud, rather than a cloud first, more of a cloud smart approach, and it's worked out for you.
Yeah, we've been very tactical about it.
So, what's been going on lately with Trinchero? What's been your next adventure?
Right.
Or most recent adventure?
So here I'm in a storage session. So let's talk about storage.
Awesome.
Well, our 3-par sands, which have been great to us over the years, are end of lifing. So we needed an answer for that. Naturally, I looked to GreenLake and I looked to HPE, and we recently went with the new Alletra sands. And to be completely honest, I report to the CFO. It was an end of life play. I can keep your costs flat, and this wasn't about performance or new features or anything. Knowing we were going to get some performance out of it, but I didn't want to oversell anything, and I wasn't sure exactly what it was going to look like. We got the new SAN installed. I started to get numbers back on the data warehousing side. Our overnight processing was coming down by a third of what it used to be, a quarter of what it used to be for some of the processing. It's been incredible.
And that's amazing. And what kind of business impact did that, give you?
Oh, it's huge. So what that overnight processing does for us is at the end of the day, we're consumer packaged goods, right? We're putting wine on store shelves. We're putting wine in restaurants. And we buy a lot of data. We buy data from Nielsen and the other data providers. And so we process about 20 million rows of data a night and ETL it, converge it with our local data out of SAP and our other source systems. And that takes time. Typically, it takes 5 to 6-ish hours, which means by the time we get the data from our data providers around midnight, by the time it's processed, the East Coast has already been working for 2 or 3 hours, right? So if I'm a salesperson, I'm already in my first account, and I don't have today's data yet, right? They don't get it till 9 in the morning, and so now I'm getting calls from salespeople when we first transitioned, and they're going, "Is this today's data? It says it's today's data, but it's 6 in the morning. I've never had data at 6 in the morning," and they've got it now, right?
So you were literally able to turn that batch processing work that you were doing from, shorten it from 5 hours into like 1.5 to 2 hours
Yeah.
of a window.
Yeah.
I mean, that's an amazing story, and that creates real business value.
Right.
Well, that's an awesome story. Well, Jeremy, so what can we look forward to next from you guys?
Yeah. So everyone's probably in the same boat that I am. Is your management saying, "What are we doing with AI?" Right.
Right.
Well, storage isn't the, no offense, isn't like the most sexy topic in the world, but
It's going to be today.
it's going to be today.
All right.
But when talking about AI, it's critical. It's critical, right? And that speed is critical. And having it on-prem, you talk about the amount of I/O required as you start to look at data models and consuming that data that we have already. The data sitting there at rest in our data warehouse. Yeah, we're exposing it to Power BI and running analytics on it and such. But when we start exposing it to AI models and we need that fast I/O, we've got the foundation for it.
That's fantastic to hear. You're a great straight man for the rest of this presentation, and I'm hugely grateful for you to take the time and spend a few minutes with us today.
Yeah, I appreciate it as well.
Thanks a lot.
Thanks, Jim.
Thanks, Jeremy. That's a great story, and it plays right into the wheelhouse of what we're going to talk about relative to a disaggregated scale-out architecture that Alletra MP is built upon. So what's HPE's approach to enterprise intelligent storage architecture designed for the future? First, the strategy is very simple. Enable enterprise growth to drive by resources or optimizing resources to reduce cost, simplifying operations, increase productivity, and accelerating innovation through speed and agility. Predefined, validated, future-proofed, and consumable solutions enable this experience to come to life. We enable organizations to stop wrestling with the complexity and start supporting strategic goals of the business to drive growth and enable new opportunities. Everything, as we talk about the benefits you get from an intelligent architecture, it really comes down to three main categories. First of all, we optimize along a foundation with a unique disaggregated storage architecture. We enable organizations to harness the full power of and utilization of the storage footprint and to deal with the explosion of data volume, which is compounded by the sustainability needs, cost pressures, and the rise of AI. You heard what Jeremy had to say. Everybody is building an infrastructure, and thankfully, we're delivering a hybrid by design infrastructure that you can leverage into your AI products and workloads going forward. Second, simplifying operations. As environments become more decentralized and hybrid due to edge inferencing, the unification of management and security constructs is vital. GreenLake is designed to integrate dev, security, and ops across all workloads, making it easier and less expensive to manage and really give the customer the time and ability to chase more strategic opportunities. HPE provides the ability to manage file, block, and object, plus data services from a single control plane with a single security and identity posture. Finally, acceleration. Let's face it, everyone is chasing change. Pressure to operationalize big data and an AI initiative is building. You heard what Jeremy had to say. Just about everybody in here is being asked by their CIO, what are we going to do? How are we going to deliver AI and gain efficiencies, whether it be from an operational perspective, to just do things smarter within your own business, or to enable value with your customers. Cost, expertise, and operational challenges hinder an organization's ability to move fast. And when you look at this through a business lens, the benefits of optimization and simplification continue to compound to drive acceleration. Not only from a tech, kind of an ability to deploy, but from an investment standpoint. Those cost savings can be redirected toward higher ROI activities like AI to drive business outcomes that you desire. Optimizing the foundation with Elettra MP. We typically don't like to go in the weeds, in the technical weeds in a presentation like this, but we're so confident that Elettra's game-changing benefits, we felt it was imperative to highlight our differentiating architecture. Competitors talk about performance and scale, but they simply can't do what we do. The architecture has completely disconnected compute components from capacity components. This is so vital in big data and AI workloads, as big data and AI workloads ramp. Workloads have different unique throughput and capacity requirements. Rather than investing in multiple monolithic systems to meet varying needs, you can buy one system and flexibly configure as needed. Cost and efficiency benefits, you gain cost and efficiency benefits, and you never trade off performance versus capacity or vice versa. Here's an example. Let's take a look at an example to illustrate. At the beginning, this is an AI example, an AI life cycle, everything from data ingestion and analysis, exploration and prep, model training and inferencing. And in the beginning, you ingest data from all over the place. This typically requires a lot of capacity. You can see that it doesn't require a bunch of compute at that point. Now, as you get your data sets in order, you need to start doing more complex transformation and querying to get data sets ready for training. This requires more throughput, more compute, and a moderate amount of capacity. Now, as you move along and you start doing model training, the actual model training, the capacity requirements are kind of further reduced. You've got a clean data set, it's organized, but the computational requirements explode. As you push models live and run within the business processes for real-time inferencing as yet a different mix of capacity and throughput. And why does this matter? With Elettra, you can have block, file, and object running on the same underlying architecture. You can tune throughput and capacity to exact specifications that you need. If more capacity is needed, but you don't require more throughput, you can add drives, you can add shelves off of an NVMe network. Fundamentally, Elettra's architecture changes the way we think about storage to dramatically reduce over-provisioning of either capacity or performance. The power of one. One disaggregated shared everything architecture and a single OS that spans all workloads and price bands. HPE's radical simplification drives lower TCO and reduces management overhead, optimizes day-to-day operations. It is truly game-changing. Now, are you ready for it? Now let's look at a competitor. So these guys, they've got good products, but they've got, we have one disaggregated shared architecture versus 5 monolithic shared nothing architectures. One GreenLake platform enabled management plane versus multiple management interfaces requiring specialized training, and the lack of a platform approach prevents consistent consumption of data services. Ultimately, our platform-enabled shared everything architecture enables an AI-ready infrastructure that delivers critical business outcomes. This is truly game-changing. Let's further explore the value of an intelligent storage architecture. The business benefits fit into these 3 buckets that we previously talked about. When we optimize resources, we see examples of 30 to 40% in CapEx savings. We have zero over provisioning because, again, we have fine-grained ability to scale compute independent of capacity and vice versa. And we see 45% less carbon emissions, which is not a surprise because we haven't over provisioned. We simplify operations, reduce operational costs by 79%. We drive a cross-stack, AI ops-driven, automated support experience that reduces 86% of the problems before you even know they're there. And we like to say invisible upgrades, zero downtime, with no forklift upgrades. And we accelerate innovation. 80% shorter time to deliver projects. We boost agility, 98% operational time savings, and a consistent one cloud experience everywhere. Now that we've discussed the challenges enterprises face and their strategy and the benefits of a platform-based approach, a platform-based intelligent architecture, let's get into some of the specific offers delivered through HPE GreenLake Cloud. Our extensive portfolio will help you store, manage, and protect, and ultimately enable your data to come to life. HPE GreenLake for block storage scales from single 2-node 8-core all the way up to 32-core switched environments. Our latest release scales to 5.6 petabytes. It's the industry's first modular disaggregated scale-out architecture. And we've seen, we have 100% data availability guarantee and 98% operational time savings with intent-based provisioning, as we talked about earlier. So you start small, scale up, you scale out, you don't over-provision, and it really builds the foundation and architecture for all the protocols that you're going to require in the future. We didn't stop there. In building on the success of our platform, our block solution, the success of our block solution, we've delivered an enterprise-grade block storage for AWS. One experience everywhere with consistent AI-driven platform, seamless data mobility, enabling use cases like DR, disaster tolerance, DevOps, test and dev. It's a seamless mobility experience with the same exact OS that runs on-prem, running now in the cloud. Part of making this whole thing work is our, I think you've heard a lot about this and the kind of the power of what we've delivered from a platform-based GreenLake Cloud. But this truly differentiates us with our intelligent infrastructure, this kind of seamless integration of AI ops throughout the entire ops lifecycle to deliver common data services and a single cloud control plane. The platform enables incorporation of advanced automation, AI management capabilities, and ops ramp observability. The data services cloud console, which gives you an AI-driven orchestration, auto-deployment, and self-intent-based provisioning. But we aren't stopping there. I'm excited to announce the HPE Timeless program, which further enhances our customers' investment protection. It's our most recent addition of HPE's worry-free ownership experience. It rounds out existing offers like a 30-day satisfaction guarantee, HPE Store More guarantee, 100% data availability, our all-inclusive software subscriptions, and our seamless no forklift upgrades. With Timeless, you can get an always modern and simplified ownership experience with a free non-disruptive controller upgrade, delivering 30% reduction in TCO. This was just announced in May. Customers are really super excited about it, and I would encourage you to take advantage. So at this point, I don't know how many of you guys were at Fidelma's keynote. All right, so Dennis is coming back out. Dennis is our demo guy, and Dennis had a bit of a tough time there, but he came through it like a champ. And I'm really excited to have Dennis come out. We're going to talk about, he's going to do a demo of our block storage for AWS that I mentioned. And he's going to show it really come to life and show the value of us running an enterprise-grade block storage capability in AWS. Dennis, come on out.
How you doing? How's everyone doing?
Hey, man.
Hey.
Thank you.
Oh, my pleasure.
I know this is going to go so well.
I
All right?
hope so.
We checked everything.
It couldn't go much worse than it did this morning. Were you all there? Were you there? Did you see that?
You didn't knock off your mic or anything?
No.
So, all right.
They gave me the right mic. See, I have a big head. My wife said, I would go into the gym. She says, sorry, honey, there's no machines for your head. So yeah, so they have these big microphones on, right? And as I'm walking around doing this, it flies right off, disconnects. It was a disaster.
I'm going to hand you this. And
Yeah, I don't know if I dare.
No, I'm going to hand you this, and I'm just going to get out of your way.
Thank you.
All right, cool. Thank you.
Thanks, fans. How you all doing today, huh? A little tired? Alex is there. He's going, yep. So as you all understand, of course, what we're talking about here is all about your data. What a surprise. That's what we're talking about, storage. Storage is the beating heart of all these occurrences or sites or instances, if you will, of our private cloud. And it is true if you're in a data center or you're in an edge location, whatever, you got to get the right data management for the job. And as you know, this is all managed through GreenLake. At this point, that cannot be a surprise. So let's log into GreenLake, and I just put this here because if you guys didn't see it earlier today, that was the way the first demo should have started. All right, so you actually have here, we have set up a workspace called Discover for our little demos, and here we actually have highlighted the Data Ops Manager. So let's go into that, and what I want to show you is that we go in, we have created here essentially an on-premise storage array of all the great technology that Jim just pointed out, right? So the whole N/M scaling, the ability to have multiple controllers, multiple storage arrays. Why? Because all our capacity trays are actually networked with NVMe fabrics. So this is actually a very, very scalable system. You can right-size it in terms of depth, you can right-size it in terms of width, and you can get just the right amount of firepower for the parallel workloads that you need to run at that location, whether it's small, medium, or very large, okay? So with that, I don't have a really huge system here, but I certainly have just a dual controller setup or a dual sort of storage server. It really is, and Alex would tell you, if you ask him later on, it's actually an AMD processor inside. If you look at an AMD processor, it has a tremendous amount of NVMe PCIe lanes, and we turn some of them north for outside of the box, and many of them south to the NVMe storage that it controls. And what we're looking at here is an array that basically has 2 controller nodes and a tray of drives. So that's like the little guy, okay? So you start saying, okay, that's my on-prem stuff. But I'd like to give you an example of a problem that might arise for you guys. A developer comes in and goes, hey man, I'm building this new banking app. You got to stand up some storage. And you're going, are you high? Are you smoking crack? You know how long it takes for us to get appropriations and POs and all that? And it goes, well, I need it now, man. I need it upstairs. And it's like, I'll just go to AWS, but you suck, right? That is a real scenario, am I right? Yes. So how do we get the same control plane out and about in the cloud as we have on-prem? And if we do that, could we actually take a copy of the data? By the way, I'm an old storage guy, right? I enjoy storage. Why? Because it's block file object. It's actually a layer cake, okay? And the layer cake is more and more abstraction. When you're at the block, you're very fast. But you're also necessarily not knowing much about the metadata above you. For that, you've got to go to a file system. And if you want object with key value pairs, you actually have to go up still, yeah? So global namespace, all that jazz, that's great, but that's higher up the stack. The benefit of being a blockhead, guys and gals, is that when we're low in the stack, that's sort of like the machine. That's where all the data lands, yeah? And we can take full advantage of that. So how do we handle this developer that's coming after us? We can't just stand up another storage array lickety-split. We need to find a way to accommodate that demand by essentially using the same control plane. So here's where this comes in. We can actually not only see that everything is humming along nicely on site, but what we can do is go and look at our AWS account. So here we have set up an AWS account where we are now going to stand up a complete software-defined storage array that works and talks and walks exactly like the storage array you already have on-prem. Why is this an important point? Because if let's say you can set up replication, that's what we're going to do in a second, and then you can snap off the mirror, give it to the developer, he can go and do it with real-life data, and it won't hurt anybody. And then when he goes, dude, my app really rocks, then you can take it back and run it in production. Does that sound reasonable? So it's actually data lifecycle done at the block level. So let's set this up. So what we have here is already set up an SDS demo account with friends at AWS. It could be Azure, it could be Google Cloud, it could be, it's funny, I had friends from IKEA. They asked, will this work on Ali Cloud? And is anybody here who is Swedish, who understands Swedish accents? I'm from Denmark, so we can make fun of the Swedes all the time. Yes, yeah, hello, are you from IKEA? No, all right, they were very nice. They were very nice. So it took me a beat, you know, because I'm speak Danish, but I don't speak Swedish, and I speak American, and so on. So it goes, Ollie Cloud, Ollie Cloud. Who's Ollie? Who's Ollie Cloud? Oh, there was an accent thing. Ali Cloud, that's for folks in China. So you want to be able to use the public cloud in China. So you need to have the ability to have a control plane that is completely supporting all kinds of instantiations in public clouds. And this is precisely what I'm going to show you now using AWS. All right, so a software-defined system. How do we scaffold this? How do we stand this up? You're probably asking yourself, Fred. You know the answer. David's going, yeah, I've seen this before. All right, go. So what we do is we actually go here. We pick one. We said ready to compose. What is it we're composing? Are we composing LUNs? No, not yet. We're setting up a standard sort of framework in the public cloud that mimics the exact instantiation we have on-prem. Okay, so let's do that. You're getting the picture. Let's compose. I feel like I'm Beethoven over here, right? Da, 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 da. All right, so we're going to go in and actually do this. And again, as you saw my demo earlier today, there is a wizard for everything we do in GreenLake. So this makes it very, very easy. I pick the availability zone and the region. Boom, done, done, done. Go in and upload my license. Yeah, this is licensed software. So I have a license key. There it is. I've uploaded it, and I'm good to go. Then we make sure the networking is working the way it's supposed to. Little IP by the way, this is a VPC you set up, so you got to provide a little bit of that information. And then boom, up and running. And ta-da, yeah, that's what I want to do. And it goes and does its thing. So now it's actually setting up a virtual software-defined storage array using the gear at AWS. You don't have to. The developer doesn't have to do anything but whip out his credit card. You go up there, and off to the races we go. So here we are. Now we have two arrays. Can you guys see this? Two arrays. One that's on-prem and one that's called my demo block SDS. The software-defined stack now is running at AWS using the same control plane that my on-prem array does. And what can you do when you have two arrays? You guys have probably done this a million times. Two arrays, data center 1, data center 2. We mirror or we async mirror across. That's exactly right. That's what we're going to do now. But we're going to use the software-defined array in the cloud as the target. And here you can see it looks and walks and talks exactly like the array. You would expect that. So with that, starting with the block array that's on-prem, we're now going to go and set this up. So we look, is there any protection defined? No, no. So we're going to create this first. And what am I doing here? What I'm doing here is I'm setting up virtual network connections between my on-prem where all the live data is, to the new friend, or the new colleague I have over here in the public cloud, and I'm going to set up two virtual connections, just in case the first one goes down. So let me show you this real quick. We set up these virtual ports. We connect them. Actually found a bug here, but we won't talk about that. You can get this out of me if you give me a beer. All right, so here's the idea, guys. You set this up, and you have dual connections now, virtual. Should someone run afoul of one connection, we always have another connection. Full redundant, what we call belt and suspenders. Okay, good. So you're there. We're setting that up. All right, let's see here. There it is. I will now go and what is this? I have a block storage array. Yes, I do. I actually set it up, and here it is. And I have now created, and I will set this up now. Can you see it says exported? Yeah. And if you see also, it should say sending here. Let's see the protection. We set this up now. Add more protection. Let me explain what I just did here. What it is, I just set up the infrastructure. And now I actually set up the relationship between the two. Okay, let's go. Asynchronous, is that fair enough? We could have set up synchronous too, but it depends on the latency involved. So asynchronous is fine. Let's set this up here. We named it, everything. Add the protection. So at this point, you're actually setting up. You can see the system is creating the protection. And what we're doing now, we have a system. It's set up, and it's asynchronous protecting. And can you see it says sending now there? Right? You can see that on the screen. Sending. So it's actually sending its data over. Like I said, here's what you do. You set up asynchronous protection. When you're done protecting, when everything is synced up, you break the mirror, and you give that volume to the developer to have at it. And guess what he likes or she likes is live data. It's actual real customer databases and everything else, because it's done at the LUN level. Okay, good. So that's it. Here you see the whole layup. And finally, we go back to our cloud console, where we have all the other data management tools at hand, all part of HPE GreenLake. So that's it, guys. Thank you for your kind attention.
Dennis, thank you.
My pleasure.
That went really great.
Yeah, it didn't break this time.
Will you come back?
I'll come
All
back
right,
next year.
thanks.
Yeah,
I
you bet.
appreciate it.
Yeah, guys, take care.
Oh, it was a great job. But you know, it really gives you the value of the power. And some of our competitors have different OSs running in the cloud than they actually have running on-prem, right? So then you got a much different operational model when you start to interact with them. So we're really pleased with the capability. So we talked earlier about enabling data to come alive. You know, I think we've demonstrated a platform-enabled intelligent storage architecture is key. Let's take a deeper look. 60 to 80% of AI projects fail. You know, and I think 80% of the companies out there are saying, look, we need to upgrade our infrastructure, our storage infrastructure to better understand or better enable AI workloads. You know, 72% of current companies are using AI storage for other workloads as well. So there's a huge transformation. There's a reckoning. There's an understanding that storage is going to be key to the success of enabling your data to come alive. So I want to talk a little bit about GreenLake for file storage. As we talk about AI workloads, this is an enterprise performance AI at scale platform. You're seeing the same disaggregated storage architecture here that we talked about in Block. This is simplicity at scale. It's an intuitive cloud experience because we've done what? We've built it into the GreenLake cloud platform. So all the data services that are available for Block are available for file and object. We have enhanced efficiency at scale for AI for all the same reasons. We have optimized and increased ROI because we have a platform-enabled approach, because we have a disaggregated architecture, and our most recent release has delivered 2 times the throughput and performance density that we had previously, 4 times the capacity density, and we consume half the power. So this is a great example of our core technology that's going to enable us to process AI workloads. So I want to talk a little bit about our NVIDIA partnership. I think at this point, if you saw the keynote, you saw Jensen up on stage with Antonio, you know that we're doing a lot of really good work with NVIDIA. The HPE GreenLake for file storage, I'm happy to announce that we've achieved DGX basepod certification as well as OVX storage validation. And we will guarantee we will be time to market with all NVIDIA reference architecture and storage certification programs going forward. We've been working extremely hard. The partnership is clear. And to that end, I wanted to invite Bob Petty out here, who's the VP and GM for Enterprise Platforms from NVIDIA, to talk to us a little bit about the partnership and the value and what they've got going on. Bob, come on out. Bob, thank you for being here. Appreciate you helping us out here.
So happy to be here.
Yeah, it's so exciting to have you here. Could maybe sit down and have a little chat?
Thank God I haven't sat down all day.
You haven't? Yeah, we've been keeping you pretty busy.
It's been great. It's been
yeah.
fantastic to be out here and talk about all the work that we've been doing together for the past year that we finally got to talk about today.
Yeah, it's exciting. We look for bigger things in the future. But give me your thoughts on the partnership and why, a deeper level of partnering is important to our customers.
Yes, I mean we've been working together for a couple decades, HPE and NVIDIA. But as AI moves from what primarily has been large language models at hyperscaler level and moves into enterprise with the advent of Gen AI, it required a deeper level of integration. It's not just about putting a bunch of racks and a bunch of storage in a warehouse, and running LLMs for months. It's about taking the right base foundational model per industry and even per corporation. It's about being able to fine tune that model, about being able to inference from that model to improve the business. So that shift from hyperscaler training, which will continue to happen, ChatGPT 8 still done hyperscaler level, to the enterprise meant we had to go a little bit deeper. We had to come up with truly purpose-built systems that are, Jensen mentioned to those who saw the keynote, as you move from this instruction-led typing and computing into trying to understand the intent to intention-led computing, you got to worry about the compute stack.
Right.
So integration of CPU, whether it's x86 or our ARM, and then our GPUs. So the Hopper systems and the Grace Hopper systems we announced, fantastic, state of the art. You have to worry about the model stack. What models are you running? What models are you going to be fine-tuning? What's appropriate for your business? Talk a little bit more about that. And then we have to worry about the data stack. And all that has to be interconnected with a fabric that reduces latency, if you're doing inference especially. So it required a joint engineering effort versus just what I would have called a vendor-to-vendor relationship in the past. And one of the reasons we partnered with HPE is they were willing to go to that level of depth at the hardware level, at the software level, and we're a technology company, a large technology company, but you guys have the go-to-market and the reach to the customers that we know will need Gen AI going forward.
I know these partnerships are really spanning business units too. It's actually really cool to see it come together, whether it's compute, storage, or our private cloud teams. We're all kind of coming together, and I think it kind of manifests itself as a real coordinated effort with you guys. I really appreciate you working across the BUs. Yeah,
I know you have to, because I think customers expect that with unified data access, they need to be able to run wherever the case may be. The public cloud is still going to be valuable for so many reasons, but protecting your data, running locally in a private cloud fashion with that cloud experience, we believe, is what our customers expect.
I know, I totally agree. I mean, it's clear that you guys recognize the value of storage in this. As you guys have defined your certifications, they all involve storage, right?
Yeah.
So you guys definitely get it. So tell us about the role that you from NVIDIA, your perspective, that storage is going to play in this world of AI.
This may sound weird coming from someone that represents a company that makes CPUs and GPUs and develops AI software. For the enterprise, the storage is probably the most critical piece. Data is intelligence. Our job is, your job is to extract the intelligence that exists in your data, and that data is all over your enterprise. It could be in your sales database, it could be in your supply chain database, it could be in your intellectual property software development database. We extract information from that data on a daily basis, but we do it at the speed of a human, not at the speed of a billion humans at once. And so, an enterprise's ability to speed that extraction is really key. In development of LLM, storage is important just so you can hold the data. On enterprise, when you're doing fine-tuning of the model, you want to be connected in a way such that you're not slowing down the development of that model. It becomes more important. Data gravity and data locality becomes more important as you get into inferencing, and a form of inferencing we call retrieval augmented generation. Let's take a model that you may have developed for healthcare, the healthcare industry. There's industry-specific models being developed everywhere. Healthcare industry, you're going to train the model with the majority of the data understand semantics, the language, and things like that. But you may have, depending on that model, you may have different databases that you're updating in real time, patient records, new information on drugs and the like. You don't want to necessarily retrain that model, but you want to augment that model when you ask that model a question. So that retrieval augmented generation is part of the inference process, which means the data has to be readily accessible. Any delay in getting that data is latency. So the latency requirements increase when you're using AI at the speed at which people want to get answers back. We have an example of a customer service center, AI assistant, horrible customer sat scores, horrible employee retention for their customer call center, revenue dropping because people weren't renewing their software contracts. And they implemented an AI assistant, and the resolution time went from 15 minutes to 30 seconds. 15 minutes to 30 seconds, employee satisfaction increased, customer satisfaction increased, revenue increased. So that latency is key. Do you want to be on the phone with somebody and wait 15 minutes for the answer, or do you want to get it in 30 seconds?
Right.
You want to get it in 30 seconds. So that latency is key. It's also key because you don't want people getting the information. Storage is also key because you don't want people getting that information that shouldn't be getting to it. So you want to put guardrails in place. You want to make sure that you're not feeding the model things that cause it to hallucinate.
Right.
Plenty of examples where people have not put guardrails in place, and information has been shared to the public or to people in the organization that just shouldn't have a right to see financial data or IP
Right.
data.
No, that's truly, it poses a new set of problems.
Yeah.
And
Fortunately, we work together
and
to
we're
solve a
working
lot
together
of
to
those.
solve a lot of those. So I already announced, we were really pleased to announce, and thanks to the help from your team, our DGX and OVX certifications. Tell us what's coming next.
Yeah, so lots of the systems on the floor, again, state of the art. You all, if you're aware of our GPU cadence, it has been primarily a two-year cadence. We're now on a yearly beat. Not so much that you'll see a new GPU every year, but we want to talk about and give our customers confidence that we're going to be continually innovating and have the time to work with our partners to do all the behind-the-scenes work to get those things ready on day one. So we're on a yearly beat, and as Jim alluded to, when we test, we give generic data and performance for GPUs, but we think about the customers, and so we test workloads. And the reason we do certification that includes storage is I need to get data.
Yeah.
I need to get data to test a workload, whether it's regardless of what I'm doing, AI or otherwise. And so our certification for our reference architectures that you then turn into solutions like HPE Private Cloud for AI includes the full system, the full rack, data, and the representative benchmarks and or workflows per industry that we deem most critical. So that when we provide information, we'd like to provide time to intelligence, time to insight versus X number of petaflops, which means absolutely nothing to most people.
Yeah, no, it's great. I mean, we're at the tip of the iceberg, so to speak, and having a good partner like you guys is going to be critical to us.
So you'll see a lot more
Yep.
certifications coming from us. As our DGX platform was, really built to show people that you can do accelerated computing at scale, but it's primarily for researchers. As we take this architecture through the OEMs and grow that, we'll have a certification process so that we have a super scale of pods, of HPE pods, that will have a certification process for GreenLake file
And
storage.
we've already said we're going to be right there with you.
Time to market.
Time to market. So you mentioned PCAI. I got to put in a plug for my private cloud counterparts within HPE that built a turnkey system, really aimed at solving customer problems. And I know you know a little bit about it. You've been working with us. I actually remember when we had some of the early meetings, and your eyes kind of widened, and you knew you liked it. It was a good idea. You weren't hearing that from a lot of other people, and the team actually did it. It was a lot of hard work, but it's out in the market. And so, tell us a little. I think by now everybody's probably heard a lot about this, but from your perspective, as you look at a lot of partners, what makes you excited about this kind of a solution?
I think what makes me excited about the last year is that we didn't try to duplicate efforts. We took the best of the best, and we integrated where it made sense. So, we partnered with HPE a lot because of liquid cooling. That's going to become more and more important in AI. Enterprise IT will be liquid cooled in the future, period. We looked at GreenLake and saw value in that and unified data access. So we didn't try to do too much other than make sure that we're using Nemo Retriever. But the real appeal was just the level of effort that your team put into making it turnkey. Some people look at AI if they're and are afraid of it or worried about it or think they need Google infrastructure. That's just not the case. And so our job was trying to make it more, to get into the enterprise, make it more consumable. Yeah. So we integrated the compute stack, the model stack, the data stack. Our our NIMs, our NVIDIA microservices are integrated with HPE AI Essentials. All of that is integrated such that, as Fidelma says, Neil says, 1, 2, 3 clicks, and you're deploying a model that's relevant to your industry, where you can ask it questions. And so that turnkey nature available through your channels and your go-to-market is one of the biggest appeals, and we'll continue to do that as we come up with more than just small, medium, large, extra large, and beyond.
I know we're going to learn a lot, and I know the team is really motivated to keep building on that success. So it's truly a success at this point. But it couldn't be done without great partnerships like NVIDIA and HPE. And I really thank you for your time.
Yeah.
Thanks for coming out and talking with
Yeah,
me.
glad
All
to be
right,
here.
man.
Gonna take another sip.
You
of
can
water
take that. I
first?
was going to say,
These
this
are
is a great
cool
mug.
cups.
I don't have any HPE swag. I might take this
I'm
when
gonna
I
take
leave,
this with
but,
me.
But
Yeah.
that's a great. You can take it. Yeah.
Thank you.
All right. Cool.
Can I have it? No. Appreciate it. Thank you, guys.
Bob Petty. So we talked about, you've heard a lot about this. It's super exciting, but when you think about a turnkey, prepackaged solution that can scale and give you all of the software and hardware and performance that you need in a single platform, all enabled with the GreenLake Cloud, that's pretty fantastic. So hopefully you guys are going to get access to it on the floor, get a demo. Really a great set of technology. So when we talk about GreenLake Cloud, for kind of maybe some of the motivation for PC for AI was the Private Cloud Business Edition, right? Which really enables us to enable management of a VM infrastructure. It addressed general purpose workloads, use cases, unified cloud experience, and it's really cloud-based VM management. It enables seamless provisioning, management, data protection for VMs across hybrid cloud environments. And we just announced the DL Gen 11 support for SimpliVity. So any of you guys that have used SimpliVity in the past, it's been refreshed for Gen 11 support. And we just introduced Alletra MP support within the Private Cloud for Business Edition stack. So that same technology that runs on-prem is now in a disaggregated hyper-converged stack on GreenLake Cloud Platform. So Zerto, we talked about the criticality of data protection. Now we've got a unified experience leveraging Zerto technology. It's unified, edge to cloud, continuous data protection, running in the GreenLake Cloud. It gives you rapid, flexible recovery of VMs, multi-VM apps for business continuity after disruptions. It turns your recovery times into seconds and minutes versus hours and days. One of the things we just announced, we're glad to announce support for DR on the Azure platform. And we're working really hard, as you guys know, our new virtualization capability from HPE. We will be embracing the KVM stack, and you're going to see, where Zerto has probably resided a lot within the VMware stack. We've had a multi-platform approach, multi-hypervisor approach for Zerto in the past, and we're going to continue to build that out. And it's really going to give our customers the optionality as you look to kind of sort through your virtual machine strategy. But the key thing here is, the CDP technology that exists within Zerto gives you recovery time, RPOs in seconds, and recovery time objectives in minutes, and that really doesn't exist anywhere else in the industry. Now, that same Zerto technology built into a cyber resiliency vault. And we just added support for Alletra MP there. So again, I think what you're seeing is a bit of a pattern here. And we're leveraging all the great technology that exists within our company to build unified, predefined solutions that really decrease time to value for our customers. But when you think about Zerto technology and cyber resiliency vault, we're talking about a decentralized zero trust architecture. Enables rapid air gap recovery. We combine a clean room plus secure data vault. This solution ensure you can reject ransomware demands and recover in minutes and hours versus days and weeks. It's air-gapped, it's immutable, data copies, and an offline control plane provide robust protection from cyber threats. Again, the difference here is you have an air-gapped Electra MP infrastructure underneath you that allows you to then recover your data down to seconds, because we're using a journal. The CDP technology is literally journaling changes at every second, every minute, and your recovery from a ransomware attack in this case allows you to be very precise. You can bring back just what you need. So, as we talk about reshaping the HPE storage in the age of AI, we kind of started off with that, and I wanted to come back to this. I want to kind of reiterate 3 points. First, our disaggregated intelligent architecture provides the flexibility and scalability that's unparalleled in the industry. It optimizes performance and efficiency to your specific workloads, enhancing your data management and accessibility requirements. Second, hybrid is, HP is hybrid by design. I think I've worked in places years and years ago, hybrid was more of a slogan. It's something very real here. And I think as you go through the show and you're looking at our solutions, hybrid really means something, right? It gives you the flexibility to meet your workloads where the data resides. It gives you the ability to have a cloud experience everywhere. It allows you to consume a cloud experience on-prem, and it really allows you to realize, cloud is not a destination, right? It's an experience, and our hybrid cloud solutions really give you that. And finally, as I said, this cloud experience everywhere really allows our customers, to focus on the value-added capabilities, get the operational efficiencies that are going to allow you to accelerate your innovation and unlock the value of your data, driving growth and innovation. I'll leave you with one final thought, though. I've got a minute. I'm going to get you out of here. As Jensen so aptly said, I think you guys were in the keynote, I would just say, buy more and save more. And with that, I'm going to thank you for your time today. Have a great rest of the show. Appreciate your time.